Okay, you have written your rough draft of your Great Wall DBQ. I'd like you to have that open in one tab, please. Go ahead and open up your rough draft. And I'd also like you to go to the History Google Classroom and open up the Hemingway editor. We're going to be using that during this process. We're going to begin revising and editing our own essays. It's good to just go ahead, get the writing down, get your thoughts down on paper, and get your essay finished. Then I want you to go back through it with kind of a fine-tooth comb before you let anyone else edit it and see what mistakes you can find, see what errors you can catch, and see what you can correct. Couple of easy things. Check for capitalization. The chin and the Han, those are proper nouns. They should be capitalized. Great Wall and China should all be capitalized. Janu Mongols, Silk Road, if you use those phrases or words, they should all be capitalized. Check that you have put just one space after period and in between words. If you see large gaps, go ahead and delete those extra spaces. Also, if you used voice to text or text to speech, check for strange words that may have been misunderstood by the Chromebooks, or check for random capitalization. Often the Chromebook doesn't understand the word you're saying, or it also capitalizes every time you start a new voice to text. I want you to avoid contractions like don't. If you mean do not in a formal essay, say do not. So go through and scan through for capitalization, punctuation, contractions, and that sort of thing. You also want to check that your documents were cited correctly with the period, a space, and then the citation. And I don't mind if you just say doc B. That's fine with me. It doesn't have to say document B. Doc is fine. Check for those basic things first. Once you've got that all checked, then I'm going to ask you to go ahead and Control A, that's select all. Then Control C is copy. And we're going to Control V, which is paste into the Hemingway app. It doesn't really matter if the title and heading get caught in there. You can delete them out, but I don't think it changes things too much. So go ahead and get that pasted into the Hemingway app, and we'll talk about how to use that. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about these green, passive versus active voice. So active voice, I've included a link here for you, is the way that we speak most of the time. The sentences with active voice are much simpler and easier to understand. In the active voice, the subject, it shows what the subject is doing, the action. In passive voice, something's happening to the subject. So you can see with my green, it is estimated the walls would be built, the peasants would be moved, they were lost, they were calmed down. We want to switch the sentences around so they're easier to understand. So this sentence says, we do not know for sure, but it is estimated that the Qin built 1,500 miles of wall sections. So to make that more simple, I can just take the action, the estimated, and move it to say, let's see, I can make it say, but the Qin built and estimated 1,500 miles of wall sections, and the Han built 4,000 miles. So it tells the action the Han did. The Han built 4,000 miles. Let's see if we can change these two down here. Let me scroll right here. It says the Han sent many peasants and soldiers to build and protect the wall. Lives were lost. Instead, we can switch that around and say that many lost their lives, but the Janu were calmed down. Okay, we can change that around too and make the Janu do the action. But the Janu, let's see, but this calmed the Janu down. And now we have changed from passive to active voice. So if anything was built, or something, the peasants be moved, the walls be built, instead switch the action around so that the subject is performing the action, not having the action happen to the subject. So if that is confusing, do your best with it. Call me over. Let me help you through it. Next, I want you to be paying attention to the yellow and the red sentences. The yellow and the red sentences are sentences that are difficult to read. Usually they're difficult to read because they are run-ons. Please remember that usually sentences with the document citations as part of them or right after them are marked as difficult to read. So you're going to want to watch those. Often you will notice that you have run-ons when your sentences are yellow or red. I want you to go ahead and make sure you read the sentences that are yellow and red and make sure that they're clear and they say what you mean and that they make sense and you've used proper commas, punctuation, and whatnot. I want to remind you again not to make all the changes here in the Hemingway app. You can make the changes here in the Hemingway app, but also make the changes in your actual essay because I won't be grading what happens in the Hemingway app and it won't be saved. You want the changes to be saved over here in your actual essay. So a couple of options. You can split screen it using your split screen option here, the one that has the little arrow, and you click I understand, let's go, make it 1x2. And on one side, you'll have your Hemingway editor. And on the other side, you have your essay. That's a really simple option. Then you can make a change here, make a change here, go back and forth, and you can sort of see what happens and keep your changes. Another option would be to go ahead and make all the changes here in the Hemingway app and then copy and paste the essay back into your actual essay. Now, what happens when you do that, though, is you lose your indentations. Notice that Hemingway does not indent. It adds spaces between the paragraphs that I do not want, and it changes the font style and size. So you really want to be careful. I'm going to show you what I mean. If I copy all this and I paste it in the Hemingway app, a number of things are going to happen. You're going to lose your indentations. You're going to have spaces added. You're going to have a font that's way too big and a different style, and you're going to have all these highlights throughout. I do not want your final draft to look like this. Your final draft needs to look like this. So I really, really recommend that you don't copy paste it over. Make the changes in both places instead. Or just make the changes in your actual essay. When you're done, you can copy and paste it back to the Hemingway app. So that's my recommendation for using the Hemingway app to help you with your revision. It's just good to have an extra set of eyes on your essay, and sometimes you don't have someone there to help you read it. So this Hemingway app can be really helpful that way. I want to direct your attention now on the Google Classroom to the argument essay rubric. It's right here, second link, I believe, possibly, but it just says argument rubric.doc. The argument rubric shows the expectations for the essay. You're going to be shooting for hopefully a 5 or a 4 in your writing. Let's focus on the 5 for right now. To earn a 5, we're looking for a clearly focused introduction, meaning that it's focused and on topic, that it is clearly stated, and you have an effective thesis statement. The thesis statement is the one that is your chicken foot statement. And so I've gone ahead and color-coded what a beginning paragraph looks like that has all the parts I'm looking for. Here is your attention grabber, which qualifies for a clearly focused introduction. And then our effective thesis statement is at the end of that paragraph. That's the purple. That's the sentence that gives the position, and it states your 3 buckets. All this blue in the middle is where you're going to earn most of the rest of the points from this section. Effective background information that's got interesting and sophisticated idea development. Supporting evidence is detailed and accurate and convincing. So now we're getting a little bit away from just talking about the opening. This is how I want you to write in all of your body paragraphs as well. So what that means is that in your body paragraphs, you have not only stated effective data and facts from the documents, but you've really done a good job of clearly explaining your thinking. You are explaining to me in a very clear and concise way why these facts matter, how these facts prove your argument. Okay, and then we are looking for thorough analysis, meaning you've really thought through this analysis. And then finally, I want to make sure you appropriately cite the documents and that you've got an insightful conclusion with a counter argument. Okay, I'm going to have to stop because my video is getting too long, it looks like, and I'll talk about the next sections in the next video.